Good afternoon, dear teachers. Welcome to the Learning Resources lecture. This is a recorded lecture, and as we discussed yesterday, we are going to explore the synchronous as well as asynchronous mode of teaching learning. This is the first lecture in the asynchronous mode, wherein I have recorded the lecture and I have uploaded it on YouTube, and I have sent you the link for that lecture so that you can access it and and attend the lecture. Now, you know the motive behind having asynchronous lecture is to make sure that these lectures reach all 100 of you, because I see that whenever I took the synchronous lecture, the real-time lectures, or when we were interacting on Google Meet, I realized that around 88, maximum to 90 or 91 of you can access the lectures, or you're present in the class, but at least 9 or 10 of you are not present. Now, I'm presuming that it is due to the connectivity issues that you are not able to attend the lectures. So that is the reason why I thought like this could be a better option to make sure that all of you have an access to the lecture and you do not miss out on any of the important points or the important tips that would be shared during the lecture. Now, apart from this, we are also going to have real-time lectures, no doubt about that. But we can look at them when it comes to discussing what has been done during the lectures. If you have any doubts, you can ask those doubts. You can clear those doubts. If you have any queries, you can always clear those queries. If you need any additional information, you can always ask during those lectures. No doubt about that. Apart from that, we will also clear our doubts or clarify our doubts or clear our queries uh, through the different platforms that we are going to use. Now, as I said, I will be using Google Classroom so that all of you can have access to the required material, the study material. If at all there is any additional material, additional reference material, I can share with you. I can share some videos with you on that. And apart from that, we will also look at Telegram and WhatsApp as the modes of communication, because that helps us to reach out to you. And what I'm looking at is that I want to have all your email IDs as well, so that whenever we have these synchronous lectures, we can do away with the admit process. If you're added to the Google Meet account, then we don't have to admit you. So what we will do is that we will look at all these aspects, we will check all these things, and we will go ahead with uh, our new normal. And you see, the new normal is going to be the normal for at least some more time. So till we till we start our classes in the regular mode over here on campus, which I don't know when that will happen. Uh, but till then, at least we can have our lectures online like this. And I'm sure once the lecture is recorded like this and it is shared with everyone, definitely everyone will be able to access this lecture. Okay. And if at all you have any queries, you can always WhatsApp me, you can always Telegram me, you can raise your doubts on the Google Classroom platform. Um, you can always make sure that if at all you have any doubts, that they are cleared in time, so that whenever you go ahead with the next lecture, you are well prepared with that. Okay. So learning resources is the name of this paper, and as I told, I will be dealing with the first unit, educational communication. I will be dealing with the second unit, multisensory learning media for classroom teaching, and I will also deal with the fifth unit, that is technology enhanced learning. Okay. All these three units have 20% weightage, and as I told you during the synchronous lecture, the paper is normally of 100 marks, out of which 65 marks for the written theory exam, and 35 marks are the internal marks, wherein we give you a project or an assignment, uh, and it can be and or. Okay, so the project and an assignment, and project or an assignment. Okay, so we can give both as well, so that we can look at the internal marks as well later on. So please keep in mind the paper is out of 100 marks, 65 marks external and 35 marks internal. Now, why am I repeating this? I'm repeating this because although we have done it during the lectures, the only reason why I'm repeating this is because some of you were not present for the lectures. Okay, and I do not want those students who have missed out on the lectures for whatever reasons you have missed out on them to lose out on this important piece of information. So although it mentions in it mentions over here that I'm sure you have not even got your college diaries as well, because you have just received a soft copy of the syllabus. So okay, so that is the reason why I'm telling you, so that you don't miss out on these important points. Whenever you sit for these lectures, try and sit with a pen and paper, so that you can note down the important points which are discussed during these lectures, and also try and keep yourself updated with these topics once we discuss these topics. Of course, you can also try and refer to additional sources over the internet as of now, so that you understand these topics very well. Okay, because when it comes to exam, everything that you understood will be of more importance than what writing word to word answers. Okay, so whatever you have understood, putting them in your own words is also equally important than just cramming these things and reproducing them in the paper. Whenever the exams are conducted, you can write in your own words what you have understood, as long as you stick to the core concept, and whatever you have written is of course related to what the question is. Okay, so what we will do is that we will start with the lecture right now, and as I said, we will start with the first unit, that is educational communication, that is unit 1. And we will in the beginning we will try and understand what is communication. Actually, we will try and understand the definitions of that. We will try and understand the meaning of communication. We will understand what are the components involved in communication. We will understand what is a communication cycle. Then we will also try and understand the types of communications which are there, like verbal and non-verbal. What exactly is the meaning of verbal? What exactly is the meaning of non-verbal? What are the characteristics of each of these communications, that is verbal or non-verbal? What are the merits and limitations? Okay, so we are going to look at all these, and apart from that, we will also understand what are the modes of communication, that is speaking, writing, visualizing. Okay, so all these things we are going to learn. Apart from that, also we are going to learn many more things. So right now, to begin with, we will understand what is this term communication all about and how did we get it. So as it says over here, you see the term communication has been derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. So it implies common experiences, mutual sharing, give and take, exchange of ideas and information. Okay, so anything that is common, an experience which is common, which is mutually shared, the ideas which are shared between each other. So that is what it all means, communication. So according to Aristotle, okay, you all must have heard about Aristotle. According to Aristotle, communication is a means of persuasion to influence the other so that the desired effect is achieved. This is what Aristotle felt. Communication is just a means of persuasion to influence the other person, so that whatever you want, whatever the desire, whatever the effect that is desired is achieved. Okay, so that is what communication is according to Aristotle. According to Dewey, communication is a process of sharing experience till it becomes a common possession. And he says it modifies the disposition of both the parties who partake in it. Okay, so it is the disposition of both the parties. Okay, so there are two parties which are involved, okay, when it comes to communication. And it is the process of sharing the experience between these two parties. Then Keith and Davis defines communication as a process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. So they have defined communication as passing of information and understanding. So whatever information you have received and you have understood, that you are passing on to someone else. So communication is essentially a bridge of meaning between people. So by using the bridge of communication, one can safely cross the river of misunderstanding. So if your communication is clear, definitely there is no misunderstanding. Okay, so that is why you should have clear communication, and there is no, so that there is no misunderstanding. Then Edgar Dale said that communication, or Edgar Dale defined communication as sharing of ideas, feelings in a mood of mutuality. Okay, so again, it talks about sharing of ideas, feelings. So in short, it is more about sharing knowledge, sharing information, sharing the understanding about a particular piece of information. And the general notion of communication is summed up very well by Solomon when he said that communication in its wider sense is a process whereby people convey knowledge, influence each other, create and maintain a base of shared notions which they then use as a personal and shared guide. So according to Solomon, communication is a process where people convey knowledge. Okay, they convey whatever they know and influence each other. So one person will influence the other with the knowledge that he or she has, and the other person in turn will influence that person with the knowledge that he or she has. Then create and maintain a base of shared notions which they then use as a personal and shared guide. So then they will create a base of this with these understandings and use it as a personal and shared guide. So it can guide them. So it may be concluded. So we come to the conclusion of what is communication after reading all these definitions, after listening to all these definitions. So communication is a process of social interaction. Okay, so in a communication situation, two or more individuals interact. That is very, very important. So you cannot communicate with yourself. You cannot keep talking to yourself only and call it communication. Okay, of course you can talk to yourself, no doubt about that. But normally when communication takes place, it is between two or more individuals when they interact. Okay. Now they try to tangibly influence the ideas, attitudes, knowledge, and behavior of each other. So they try to influence the ideas, means both the individuals who are interacting or where communication takes place. The individuals are trying to influence each other. They are trying to influence each other's ideas, attitudes, knowledge, and behavior. And communication is thus an exchange of information, knowledge, ideas, or feelings taking place between two individuals. So again, two individuals, two or more individuals. So communication cannot take place when only one individual is involved. So it has to be two or more people. But in a face-to-face situation, the gestures, expressions, language, and tone create an impact on communication. So how is communication affected? It is affected when it comes to a face-to-face situation, when you look at the gestures of someone else, when you look at the expressions of someone else, when you listen to the language that the other person is using, and the tone. Okay, so all these aspects play a very, very important role when it comes to communication. And this communication plays a very important role in the life of a teacher, especially because you are the one who are going to communicate with different stakeholders of this industry. Now, who will be the stakeholders when you will start teaching? You will have your students, you will have your colleagues, you will have the parents of the students, you will have the management, you will have the headmaster or headmistress. Okay, so all these will be the stakeholders, and you will be constantly communicating, you'll constantly interacting with these stakeholders, and it will be very, very important for you. So your gestures will make a huge difference, your expressions will matter, your language will make a huge difference, the tone will make a big difference when it comes to interacting with all these stakeholders. The way you will interact with your students may not necessarily be the way you will interact with the management. The way you interact with the headmaster may not necessarily be the way you will interact with your colleagues. Okay, so your your gestures, your expressions, the language, the tone, all will be very, very important. All these things will be important when it will come to your communication. And as a teacher, communication plays an extremely important role in your life. So please remember that, very, very important for you as a teacher. Now, what are the objectives of communication? Okay, why do you think communication is required? Can't you talk to yourself? If you talk to yourself, of course you can definitely tell yourself, okay, you're good at this, you're good at that. But why do you need to communicate? And that means when you say communication, it involves two or more people. So why do you need to communicate with others? Okay. See, some of the objectives which are here says that you need to communicate to motivate someone, to motivate that person. Okay, to inform someone. Okay, that person doesn't know something, so you inform that person. To suggest something, you can suggest something to that person. Then to warn someone, to order something, or to order someone to do something, to change behavior. Okay, these are some of the objectives. Then to establish better relationships with others, to enable meaningful learning. See, all these things are possible only when you can communicate with someone else. Now you can establish a better relationship with someone else. When you will talk to that person, when that person will look at the expressions on your face, your gestures, they will listen to your language, they will understand the tone with which you are speaking. So all these things will be very, very important in forging good relationships. So very, very important for you to understand what is communication. And in the life of a teacher, you cannot do without good communication skills. You need to have good communication skills. Now, good communication skills doesn't mean that you have to speak in a particular language. As long as the language which you use is understood by the other person, that is more important. Okay, to enable meaningful learning. Now, you will enable meaningful learning only if you can communicate in a better way. If you communicate, if the communication is clear. So that is possible only when you have good communication skills. So what are the basic features of communication? Now, it says communication is a universal phenomenon. Of course, it is universal because everyone around us, everyone across the globe, they are interacting with each other. So you cannot say that it is just okay. Only in Goa people are communicating. Outside Goa they don't communicate. You cannot say that, or you cannot say that okay. Only in my house we are communicating. Outside they do not communicate. You cannot say these things, right? You cannot say only in India we are communicating. So communication is a universal phenomenon. Everyone across the world is definitely communicating. Okay. Now communication takes place in all spheres of life. It is not necessary that we are only speaking about the teaching community. It takes place in every sphere of life. It can be a personal life, it can be a professional life. Everywhere communication takes place. Communication is a purposeful purpose. It involves a source, a message, a channel, and a receiver. So whenever you are communicating, there is a purpose, and you are achieving that purpose purposefully. Okay, that means you want to do something with a reason. So communication is a purposeful purpose. So it involves a source, the person who will talk or the person who will give the message. There will be a message. Of course, you need to say something. So whatever you say is a message, a channel, okay, how it is carried to the other person, and a receiver, the person who listens to you, or the person who receives the message. Okay, so these are the four aspects of communication cycle, to be precise. It involves a source, a message, a channel, and a receiver. Then communication involves interaction. It involves an exchange of thoughts, ideas, opinions, or information through speech, writing, signs. Of course, there has to be interaction when it comes to communication. Now, this interaction can be in terms of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, information through speech. So communication need not only be through speech; it can also be through writings. It can also be through signs. Okay, so very important. Then communication is a continuous process. Okay, you cannot say that okay, today I'm going to communicate, tomorrow it will be over. End. Period. No, it is not possible. Communication is a continuous process. It is an ongoing process. It keeps on going. So communication is a continuous process. And it can be verbal or non-verbal. Very, very important for you to understand this. Communication can be verbal or non-verbal. Why do we say it is continuous? Because communication can be verbal or non-verbal. Verbal in the sense you are speaking, I'm speaking to you right now. So you are listening to me, so that becomes verbal. Now non-verbal means what? Now, as we discussed earlier, your gestures, your expressions, the way you speak, the tone of your voice, your body language, okay, all these and some more aspects are involved when it comes to non-verbal mode of communication. So you see, communication can be verbal, it can be non-verbal as well. And that is why we say it is a continuous process. So communication takes place in a context. Okay, there is a background, there is a situation which is given to you. The context of communication at least has three dimensions. So at least there are three dimensions. There is A, physical, that is you can communicate in the room or in the hallway or in the park. Or it can be social, that is status relationships, roles that people play, the norms and the culture of the society in which they communicate. So in society, how you speak, okay, or how you communicate. And third is the psychological, that is formality or informality, friendliness or unfriendliness, etc. That means the way you will communicate at home would not be the way you will communicate in your office or at school. The way you will speak to your your closest friend will not be the way that you will speak to the headmaster or headmistress of the school. Okay? So that is what it is. It is all psychological. So now all these three dimensions, that is the physical, the social, and the psychological dimension, they interact with one another, and each influence and are influenced by others. Okay, so you need to understand that all these three dimensions, that is the physical, the social, and the psychological dimensions, will interact with each other. So it can be the physical that is interacting with the social and psychological, or social is interacting with physical and psychological. This will interact with each other, and each of them influence each other as well as they influenced by each other. Like for instance, when you're talking to the headmaster of or headmistress of school, okay, of your school, what will how will your interaction will be more formal, so that takes care of the psychological aspect. So it will be more formal, okay, and it will be more polite, you'll be more courteous, and when it comes, and of course you'll be talking to, or you'll be discussing something to the headmasters in the headmasters cabin, or the room. So that takes care of the physical aspect. And of course the norms and the culture of the society in which you will communicate, the norms of the school that you will communicate. Of course, you will be also looking at the status relationships, how you're talking to someone who is the superior, uh, superior in the sense who is the headmaster or headmistress of the school, and you are a teacher. So, of course, designation wise, that person is above you. So social status relationships, so that takes care of the social aspect. So you see, communication involves all these three dimensions: physical, social, as well as psychological. These dimensions interact with each other, and of course they influence and get influenced by each other. Okay, so what we will do is that we will stop here today, and I will circulate the Google form after this lecture, and we will see after this lecture, or rather maybe uh, by today, I will make sure that I circulate that Google form so that you give feedback about this lecture, and at the same time you uh, give me your email IDs also. And any future communication related to these lectures will take place in our LR group, that is LRSH, on WhatsApp as well as Telegram. Uh, the Google form which I will circulate, please make sure that all of you answer those questions in the Google form, and listen, of course, listen to the lecture first and then answer the questions in the Google form. And please try and join the Telegram group as well, because there you will get access to even those messages which have been posted earlier or before you could join the group as well. Okay, so all the best, and all the best for this new journey at Nirmala. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this journey, and we will see each other very soon as and when the college reopens for regular classes. But till then, we will enjoy these online lectures. We will try and understand these concepts through these online lectures. If we have any difficulties, of course, the lecturer, the professors are always there to help you through any of the communication channels which are present right now. With us, it is WhatsApp, Telegram. I have given you my email ID as well. You can reach me uh, through any of these options. I have given you my WhatsApp number, my Telegram account is there. We have also created the groups, and then I will also create the Google Classroom uh, group, or rather Google Classroom, and we will access and you can be a part of that class. So I will send you the code for that. So you see, we are available for you whenever you feel that you are not understanding anything, you are having any difficulties. Please feel free to approach us. Do not hesitate to approach us with your difficulties, because unless we know your difficulties, we cannot address them. Okay, dear teachers. So all the best. Welcome to Nirmala's once again, and I'm sure that all of you will be great teachers, not just good teachers. You all are good teachers, no doubt about that. You will be great teachers when it comes to your interaction with your students, and you're going to touch many lives. Millions and billions of students are going to look up to you, and you're going to interact with them. So all the best for that. So thank you for attending this lecture. Appreciate your time, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you have another lecture, you can attend that as well. Thank you so much, dear teachers. God bless you.